Hello, hello, my beautiful people. How is everybody doing today?
Happy New Year!
And welcome back to Generation Z. We are back and
Better than ever!
Better than ever. Hold up. Wait.
What's up?
The door is open.
Okay. Thank you, Van.
You can hear our echoes in the background.
Thank you to Van for
So
for-
it is the New Year. How did everyone spend their New Year?
amazing. Wait,
I wish you
let's
guys
talk
could
about how
yeah.
we have a guest on the show. What do we forgot
Yes,
the
sorry.
most important thing right
I
now.
got mad distracted over there because the door was open. But
That's all
today we have a special guest on Generation Z. If this is you guys' first time on Generation Z, just so you guys know, I'm Van.
I'm Pam.
And I'm Og.
And we're brothers, sisters. And my mom has a radio station called Positivo Extremo Radio. And we are the only English show
On her radio.
on her radio because everything else is in Spanish. And this is Christian. He's our special guest today.
The one and only.
The one and
Christian
only.
Olmec.
Thank you,
Boy,
thank you.
C-Rock.
Feels good to be here with you guys.
Christian, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am from Miami, born in Miami. Raised,
Miami
yes.
305, Mr. 305.
Kid 305. I'm not a mister yet. And I've been raised in Suriname up until I was 17. Went back to Miami to follow my dream, which is dancing. And long story short, met Van through Bang Energy.
Met
And
who?
Vanessa.
Yeah.
Van Seco. Through Bang Energy. And we've been traveling the world, doing what we love to do, dancing. I've met her other siblings. They're pretty awesome, very talented family.
Thank you,
and
bro.
yeah, I'm really excited to be here.
We are excited to have you.
Yes.
So
Today we start on a dark note.
we started
Not a dark note. Well, we had a little
A
occurrence
dark note
that
for
happened to
some.
us.
We've made a mess with it. You know?
We had a little occurrence that happened to us in the beginning of last month, December 3rd to be exact. Our little
December
kitten,
3rd, you remember?
yeah, our little kitten passed away,
Yeah.
and it was a sad. And you guys probably know who he was. We put him in all of our vlogs. He was the little black and white, super cute cat that is like no other.
His
He
name
passed.
is DJ Don Julio.
DJ.
Don Julio, you guys saw him because we literally had our vlog when we moved from Florida to California. We had our vlog.
We put him everywhere. He was the cutest.
Yeah, he was the best. And the vlog was literally about Bill and DJ. And
Like everybody was saying, we're like, it's a cat vlog.
he was a baby. He was a baby and he passed away. He was probably 8 months, 9 months old when he
Little
passed
baby.
away. So we got over it very, like, we didn't get over it.
Well, we did what every owner would do. You know, they
Yeah.
had a really nice little
We had-
ceremony for him. We
buried him in our
buried him in our
backyard. I mean, you guys know how it is. Like, losing a pet is always hard.
Always.
And, like, especially if you have, like, a really strong connection with them, which we all did with that cat.
my
like,
God.
he was like no other. Like, when we tell you he was like no other, there wasn't a cat like him.
He was like a human in our family.
He
Like
was
it
a
wasn't.
person.
I'm sorry. Let me jump in real quick because the way you guys care for your cat, it's like no other. Coming from the outside perspective, I wouldn't, I would say that's very special that you guys have that connection with your cat and that you guys, were so affected by his passing.
Well, he was a member of the family.
He literally was a
like,
member
to
of the
me,
family.
He wasn't just some
Like
random
he was a
cat.
part of our vlog.
Yeah. He was a part of the vlog. He was a part of a lot of the things that and he would be on our stories all the time. If you follow
He
us
was
on
a little
Instagram.
human, yeah.
He was all over the place, and he was always there for our meetings. He was very involved.
He was always in our meetings. He'd
Always
like
in our
sit on the
meetings.
tip of the thing. Like he wasn't like those cats that like people would come over and they go under the couch. Like he was an actual human, and whenever he felt energy or when we were all like having fun, he would be there. He would be there with us.
And I guess now would be the perfect time to talk about the fact that cats are energy. They protect you and they heal you, and they're always there to basically pick up any trash, any bad energy that is laying around your house. And that is why they literally sit at the foot of your door. They'll sit at the foot of where you come out of the shower. They'll sit
on your shoes.
On your shoes. They'll sit at the mat of your at the front door of your house. Like they're always there to protect the bottom, like the where you let go of the worst energy or the where bad energy is coming in and out. You know what I'm saying?
If you actually like look it up, there's like articles about like that cats being known for that. They're like energy cleaners.
Yeah.
They clean the energy. They don't protect it. They clean it.
Yeah, they clean it.
So
And-
they'll go in like your shoes and they'll clean your shoes.
But they are protecting you. Like, look at our cat right now. He literally always goes.
Oh my
like,
God.
Like if it is his damn job.
We call him the security guard.
He's over in
Like
the
it's
corner
the
of
funniest
room.
joke of the house because this is where my mom does her radio every single morning, and he sits in the corner and like supervises. Like he's like making sure no predators are coming. Like
We're saying he supervises. He's literally sleeping over there. Like
he's like actually. He's the security.
He is the security,
And like today he
yeah.
came in
Mama
hungover
says he's the
and a little
security.
late to work, but he made it. He's super cute. We've had him the longest actually because we've had several cats. So here's the funny thing is that we just got another black and white cat. Our dad comes home like about a week ago and doesn't tell anyone, comes home with this super cute little black and white cat that looks identical to the one that we just had a month ago. And
can I just say,
black and white tuxedo.
we are obsessed with black and white tuxedos.
Yeah.
It's like it's not like we're psycho or anything. We just really like our black and white tuxes.
But it's
And
funny because we look crazy.
This is our third one. Our second one that dies, and our third one that we hope he's gonna make it.
Guys, Van and Pam forgot to mention that we didn't even plan on getting a new cat so soon. My
We
dad
didn't.
just got home and he just came home with a cat.
Yeah.
He just came.
Like he literally just came home with a cat.
He didn't tell anyone.
Didn't tell anyone. He didn't have like a elaborate surprise. He just walks in the house and he goes, "Hey, Agus." I'm like, "What's up, Dad?" And I turn around, and in a matter of like a minute, everybody's in the living room looking at this cat.
It's actually so funny because if anyone knows our dad, he is the ultimate cat lover. Like he couldn't wait a month without another little black and white cat. Yeah, it was really funny though. But we're like, we honestly look like psychos. Like we're getting the same cat. Like this is the third one that we've gotten, and they've all died at like the same age, which is the saddest part.
We probably look really heartless. We probably look
We
really
don't.
heartless.
We
but
don't.
we're-
We don't.
But we're not. You know, like if anything, we want to take this show to talk about kind of like what we believe, how
What
we
we
feel
think.
about the whole thing, how we feel about life
Yeah.
after death. Because at the end of the day, it's a part of life. Death is just a part of life as life is a part of death. You know.
It came across. This conversation started because we were on our way to Big Bear, and me, Pam, and Christian were in the car, and we were just talking about the fact that DJ died, and we were like, "Oh my God, he's like actually dead." This is how I took it. I was like, because today's topic, if you guys are just now tuning in, today's topic is life after
Never
death.
mentioned it.
Did we not mention
we
it?
didn't mention
Oh my God! Today's topic, guys, is life
It's not
after
about
death.
cats. We promise.
It's not about cats.
It's
We
about-
didn't come
Somehow
here.
make everything about cats.
Yeah.
It was inspired by that.
It was
inspired
inspired
by a
our
cat.
dead cat, but it's not supposed to be out of like we don't want anyone's sympathy. Like we're not coming here to mourn or to be sad or to. That's not what this show is about. We want to literally just have an open discussion about what you guys think happens after death, how we feel about energy, consciousness, and how it all goes about after you leave the physical realm. Like what happens when your body is destroyed. And it all came about from when our cat died. I think that's when I became the most woke about it, at least.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Well, every time somebody in your life passes, you kind of get a little like woke about that
Yeah.
topic as well. Like when our friend passed, we had a friend that passed
Oh.
a few months ago, like in the middle of last year, and it hit us hard.
It definitely.
It always hits hard. I mean, like we've never really
It
lost
didn't
anyone
hit
that we've
me
been
as hard as it
super
hit you.
close to.
Mhm.
Yeah, but
All right, let me start. If I may jump in, I think this will be a good time to say that I've learned that energy doesn't vanish, right? I've learned that energy just transfers, right? And if we are energy, where do we transfer to when we die, or what?
I know, that's what I was thinking. That's literally what I thought. One being because we had a cat who was running around our house. He literally had a soul. He had a brain. He made decisions. He had thoughts. He got tired.
a heartbeat.
He got hungry. Like he was I would consider him human. And then he just left, right? And his body, there was nothing in there anymore. But because the one thing we know is that energy cannot be transferred or destroyed. That's what Christian just said. That's one thing we
Cannot
are
be
certain
destroyed.
And that's
of.
what, like that's something you can't deny.
And seeing the fact that we had a little critter running around, clearly had a soul and an energy to him, and then all of a sudden he's just gone. Where did he go?
I like to think he moved on to like the next life that he was supposed to live. I don't know where it's written, like, hey, after you live in the DJ body, you're gonna go move on to live in like a Malaysian girl who lives out in Malaysia or something, or you're gonna go and live in a little ant body. You know what I mean?
Right.
It just depends. Like I think it's all a part of your soul's evolution
and how
Yeah.
how you lived your life. This very
Yeah.
interesting
Yeah.
because we were when we were talking about it initially, we talked about how DJ was so loving. He was very loving. Like you could pick him up. He wouldn't budge. He would just love everybody. So my 2 cents was like, okay, and then that means whatever he had probably done in his previous life that had brought him into being a cat, he paid his dues. He loved, and now he probably, the moment he actually passed away, he probably got born into a baby again because
That's it. Yeah, like what we were talking about like that's why people sometimes leave us too soon, because they got their job
good die
done
young.
early. They affected the lives that they had to. They did what they had to do. I mean, the girl that we knew from college that passed, like she was
the
an
most incredible person in the whole
I don't
wide
ever
world.
think she did anything wrong ever.
And if
like,
you oftentimes you think about the people that leave us and you're like, damn.
like why
But
did
they
it
were
have
the
to be
best
that
one in the bunch.
Yeah,
They were the
good die
best
young.
mother effer in the bunch.
Yeah.
Like, why did it have to be them? And that's why my theory continues to be that, yeah, we do, when we die, we go on to our next life. And because we do have a next life, I think that our consciousness does not die with our physical body. Our physical body, it's like we rent out like a material. And then we check out, and it depends on how we did. If we
in
go
that
on
life,
to
whether we go on to a better life, or
whether we go
or
on to being a rock
or
or
life,
we
yeah.
go into being a bear.
Well,
or
what do you guys
Buddha?
believe happened to DJ? Well, Pam, did you have a comment?
Well, yeah, Brianna Gordon 4 said, personally, I believe depending on what you do with your life and how you deal with what you're put through, that'll determine whether you become something magical after death or if your soul just goes to an empty place where there's no energy is available. I have so much to say about this topic and not enough space to type it. Damn
Well,
it.
we got a whole show.
Yeah,
we got a whole
then right
show.
back,
I feel
right
the
back.
same way. We're like, do you
literally-
just, like, if you had a bad one, like, do you go on to something, into another life that is not as good as the one you had, or do you just kind of, like, die out?
And Pam, let's get real. How do you feel about death?
I don't know.
How do you feel about the
How
empty
do you
space?
feel about that?
Going
Controversial
up to the
man.
empty
Putting me
space.
on the
like,
spot. You guys, everybody in my family knows that there's something that I can't cope with the thought of death. Like,
She doesn't
I
understand.
literally,
Like
ever since
it.
I was little, I would start crying just like thinking about like dark space. Like, I don't even like thinking that would even be an option. Because could you imagine? Like, could you imagine? This is
Boredom.
done. This was it. This was the most fun you've ever had, and then just dark space. Like, I don't think that's what happens, and I don't understand why anyone would think that. Because,
I used
like,
to
then
have
what's
the
this
same.
all for? Like, what the like?
you know what's funny? What I just thought about right now. I think that whatever you think it's gonna happen. If you don't think that's gonna happen, it's not gonna happen. If you believe that there's life after death, then you probably will be living on. If you think that you're gonna go into an empty space, you'll probably go into an
Could you
empty
imagine?
space.
It's exactly what you think it is. It's like
Oh
the
my God.
believers.
Isn't everything, though?
The believers. Yeah,
Isn't
right.
everything, though?
I like to be
You're
hopeful and
right.
think that life has shown us, and life in general, the vast like reach that we've been able to see that life has been able to get to. I think that the evidence shows that there's no way that energy can be transferred into a little black box. Like
But
there's no way.
She's talking about the middle, because I do believe that there are people who aren't ready to evolve to the next life, and they have to stay like in what is it called, that middle space, that medium, like
it's like a
Like
limbo
in the
or something,
movie
like a limbo.
in
Inception.
No, it was a scary
Insidious.
movie. Insidious.
Insidious.
They were all like roaming around in that scary dark place.
Yeah. I think that you do have like a moment of nothing. Like, I do think that you do enter nothing. And I
You
think
do?
that Yeah, and I think that that's why we have those visions when we're little. It's like deja vu. Because I used to have the same thing that Pam has, but I controlled it, and now
okay.
it doesn't come anymore.
It's
But
weird. It's
I
like
have
a
different
random
theory for deja
anxiety.
vu. I don't think deja vu has anything to do with what you're talking about.
But how come we had the same exact thing?
What do you mean?
We
What
used to
thing?
have this thing where if we thought hard enough about dying and just going
Like
into
I
nothing,
legit
like,
get anxiety. I'm like, then why don't I just do anything I ever want? Like,
yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
why do we have fears? And I honestly get really deep into it. But I've had times like 5 times where I've like cried and I've been like really like scared. Just like no, I
Yeah.
want to go.
Yeah,
Like, no.
it just ends up in like a hole of nothingness. Like, what happens after you die? What happens? Just nothing.
And then it just
nothing
makes
and
you think
nothing, and
like,
then it
what
just
is
makes you think
this?
of, like,
What are we
nothing.
doing right now? And what is the point? Like,
And then when you snap back into reality, it kind of like makes you appreciate the people around you, and you're like, oh my
Yeah.
God, like that's how it used to happen to me when I was little. So I do think that there's a point where you're like, oh my God, where is everyone? But
you do.
yeah, but I don't know if there's a God, but because I think that
I've heard
we
of a
are our
lot of
own
cool
gods.
theories, though. I've heard of some cool theories. Like, have
What?
you ever heard of the egg theory?
Yes.
You heard
What's
of that,
that?
theory?
Yes,
About
explain
how
it.
we're all just the same soul and how we just keep reincarnating into everybody that's ever existed. And like one of
We
the
were
most
once Hitler.
holy, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we were once Hitler, but we were also Jesus. Like we were the holiest bodies, but we were the darkest bodies, and probably the darker bodies were a lot earlier in our path of life, and then, or our soul life. And then obviously the more holy, like Nelson Mandela, like Mother Teresa, like Jesus, are more of like the last souls right before you get to like I
God.
guess the
Like,
the
holy.
creation, the birth of like a god.
Right
Yeah.
before you
But-
become.
So
but
then,
if-
but like,
If that was true, if that would be true, the whole cycle, then wouldn't the purpose be to just do better? To do
Yeah,
better
yeah.
because I like to think, to go back to the middle space. If you get to the middle space, you must have done some sucky stuff to get into a space where you're just gonna be like stuck. So maybe I see that as a punishment. Like
Yeah.
if you're gonna be
Hell.
stuck. Right. Well, not necessarily hell. I don't really believe in hell anymore.
But
like, let's say,
but in a religious sake, yeah,
Yeah.
that's
right,
hell.
right.
You know what I
Let's
mean?
if we
We
if
all
we
just interpret it
because the
differently.
way you were saying it too, like you were saying like, wow, it's scary. So it's in a way, it's like kind of like showing you like you don't want to go there. So you do want to make good decisions. You do want to make sure you live a good life, make right decisions. So you maybe if you do come back, you come back as a holier person,
Yeah.
and not in the middle where you're just not gonna be roaming around and not
Right.
doing anything.
Like how they teach in Kabbalah, we come and we have 9 lives, and like what you said, it's kind of that's why I think religion, everything
Is
is
tied
kind of
into
the
the
same.
same.
It all kind of is like the same, but everybody just needs to be different in some way, so they call it something else. But it really is all kind of the same. And I think the egg theory is really similar to Kabbalah, because Kabbalah teaches you that you come and you live 9 lives, and each time you evolve something until it's like time. And that's why we have old souls and new souls, and you can tell that you're here in a lifetime with someone who's a very new soul, or someone who's just
like
so
when
evolved for
you
their
meet
age.
someone like really young and you're like, why are you so like
Yeah.
kind of an old soul? Like you feel it's an energy.
Yeah.
I've seen kids with old souls,
Oh, yeah.
like babies,
Oh, yeah.
with the facials,
The
like-
faces,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we think Van's an old soul.
Really?
You always say it. What do you mean, really? You're
I
like,
mean,
really?
I always think I'm like a higher middle soul, but like I wouldn't say I'm like at my last life.
So you
I
do
w-
believe that.
I would
Last
agree.
life.
I would agree, like a higher middle self. for
I
sure.
think. What do you think you
I'm
are?
in the medium.
Me, older soul, old soul.
Yeah.
I've always been attracted to people that are older than me. Like I've been attracted to knowledge.
I'm not older than you.
But you're a middle older. Though, you know what I'm
He's
saying?
like, you're also with me here.
You're not that. With anything, we're more or less like on the same level. That's how I feel with spiritually and just spiritually.
Yeah.
I
So-
feel like
Ooh.
I don't know. What about you, Pam?
Ooh, we
I-
have a
I
good
f-
comment though.
What
I
was
just
the
want to
comment?
get on it.
Oh,
well, we
yeah,
have a
want to
few.
involve you
Let me
guys
get-
in the show.
We have a few.
This show is about
Pam, you
involving
guys stay more
you
on
guys.
top. Stay more on top of the
Well, I
comments.
know, I
wanna
didn't
see
wanna
what
interrupt
people.
you
I want to
guys
see what
because-
people want to like say.
For sure.
you know?
I
For
see
sure.
a lot of
But
people.
we were
have
all
been
just so
commenting.
into it. I was going to get in. Okay,
Yes.
so
Yeah, good.
Fabinator said, my dog passed away in March of 2018. Seeing his lifeless body was the most eerie and heart-wrenching feeling,
Yeah.
but my mom and I still feel his energy around
Nice.
constantly. I believe that when you leave your body, you still live on as an energy. Yes, we
Absolutely.
feel the same way.
And the question is, does your energy stay in this dimension though? Does it stay in this realm? or doesn't move on. And I feel like if
Oh,
you
that brings us
have
to the next
unfinished, if you have unfinished business, you kind of just do chill around. And if you, it depends on the soul. The soul, like the soul of your dog probably is running around still because it doesn't feel like it's ready to go. But I do think that at some point it goes and it goes and it evolves.
MJE_XO said something really cool that we're all probably gonna relate with. She said, "I'm not sure how you guys feel about psychics, but I believe in some. I've been to some pretty incredible ones, and I actually have a best friend who committed suicide and still isn't completely ready to cross over."
Yeah.
We've literally experienced the same thing.
It happens a lot with suicide, and because a lot of the times people die by accident and they're just going crazy not knowing how to cross over because they're trying to get people's attention, trying to be like, hello, like I wasn't ready to go, like I had plans.
You have to see the movie. You have to see the movie
plans.
Ghost. That movie is literally exactly what, like, that movie is that story. The movie Ghost.
Well,
It's
that's actually
old, but it's
crazy
good.
that you said that, because a friend that I keep talking about that passed,
Yeah.
one of her best friends went
same
to
thing.
a psychic, and the psychic told her this same exact thing. She said that your friend she's still in this realm, like she's not ready to cross over, all like the same. She said crossover. Like,
Yeah, it's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I think they're called mediums, or what are
Entities,
they?
maybe.
No, well,
They're like-
the people who, but there are people who help you cross over though. Mediums.
Yeah.
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 Guys, we're
And
going
they-
into we're going to like scary story, like ghost territory. But at the end of the day, I feel like a ghost is a little more like they're here to stay. And these guys that, like you said, Van, victims of suicide and the victims of just obviously
too soon.
accidents that are gone too soon. They're obviously, they don't want to be here. They're not here to stay. They want to move on to the next chapter. It just depends. Depends on where you are in life. I feel like the ghosts that stick around and that are stuck here forever, like the murderers who got killed in the middle of like a scene or something.
Because how long are you gonna stay in a realm like that if you have a good heart, if you were
That's true.
Yeah,
Like,
Valen said, I feel like this is a human experience and it all depends on how you live your life right now. I believe in reincarnation too, and sometimes when you like something randomly, it's related to your past life. Yeah.
Shout out to
my mom
Valen.
always says she like every time we used to go past like Palm Beach, she would like drive by and she's like, I feel nostalgic. Like she swears she's like lived there in a past life.
Have you guys ever come up with your own theories of what you think happens after death? Like literally just thought one day.
Ooh, that'd be
thought
cool
that
if you
an
have
idea.
comment them so we can share them.
I've always just wondered, like, does it hurt?
What? What?
I just hope it's
It
fun.
depends on how you die, though.
I just hope it's fun. I don't
If you
care
die
where
in
we
your
go, but
sleep,
like let
it's
me
not
have
gonna
fun
hurt.
and let me have my family
Okay,
and I'll
can
be
we
good.
pause for 1 second? Everybody needs to talk into the microphone. Because
We are
this-
talking into the microphone.
Hello,
Sometimes
hello.
we're talking like this, and then it sounds like
Dude,
an
I've never
echo.
been this far.
No,
I've
no.
literally been this
one over
close
here.
every time.
Here, I have a way to help you. Do that.
I also think the mics might be a little low.
Yeah, that is it.
All right.
I hear you guys.
Fabinator.
Time in.
Fabinator _ she already wrote something. She's writing something again. She said, and I think depending on whether or not you've accomplished your mission in life, because I believe everyone has a mission they come to complete, you either move on to heaven or your energy is born again into another being. Yes, completely agree with that.
Do you
And-
guys think that Michael Jackson moved on? Do you think that he completed his mission? Sorry,
died- he
side
died
note.
by accident.
Completed 100%.
He died by accident because near the end of his life he couldn't sleep unless
I
he
think
was
he
on
completed it.
medication, right? So he had to. I think it was an accident.
I think if he didn't complete it, we wouldn't know him who he
Who he
was
was.
today. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
Sorry,
feel like
side
every
note.
great person, even if they're if as great as they are, and as good of a soul as they are, they still have something to work on. That's why that they're in this 3D physical dimension and realm that we're in right now. Everybody's got something to work on if you're here. That's what I believe. I actually have two theories. I have the theory that I made up, which is
What's your
I
theory?
made it into a movie. Remember that? You remember that? I made it into a movie. It's called 7 Minutes. You guys remember that?
I remember
Basically,
the movie.
I want to see
The
this
theory
movie.
is like scientifically. This is the only scientific part about the theory, by the way. But this is a theory that I made up, and it's that when you die, your brain still is like functioning for like 7 minutes, right? And it's like nobody knows what happens in those 7 minutes of brain activity, but your brain is working in those 7 minutes. Dude, I don't know. I think there's something wrong.
No,
with
you're
Mike.
supposed to speak into it. You're talking like this. So you hear yourself in the thing. You have to
okay.
talk like this.
All right. Anyway, back to the topic. So in those 7 minutes, my theory is that you like recount your entire life so vividly that you feel like you're basically living it again, right? But you're not aware, you're not self-aware that you're reliving your life in your own dead body. So once you've relived your entire life so vividly that you think you're in it, so a year feels like a year reliving your life, all in those 7 minutes of you and your dead body. Once you get to the end of reliving that life, you repeat the cycle, and it's just a cycle that repeats until you better yourself in every life that you live, right?
Oh, that's really
so
interesting.
because you don't know that you're living your life, you're able to change some things that had been registered in your life. So you constantly
Did you see that in a movie?
one by one. No, I made this theory up.
This
I want to make it into a movie.
This is
is my
interesting.
idea.
Okay,
Wait,
well, don't give it away.
but within you cycling, are you able to change?
Well, I think that, in the cycle, right, you keep going in each cycle, you get deja vu, right? That's
Right.
why you continue to, like, at random points in your life, everybody's had deja vu. You guys feel like you've been somewhere before, whether you was in a dream or whether you actually have been there before. It's just a feeling. In my theory, it's that you've been there before because you're reliving your life, and there's a certain part of your brain that can recognize that, but it doesn't know, your conscious brain doesn't know what that is.
Is it
right?
like the butterfly effect?
Sort of like the butterfly effect, but not really. It's like more. My theory is that you continue to relive your life over and over and over again, and you become more holy and better a version of yourself every time. That eventually you
so
are
you live
able
the
to.
same life.
Yeah, and then eventually, once you've basically learned every lesson you were supposed to learn in your life, and basically redo that lesson, and subconsciously do the right thing, then the wrong thing that you had done every other time, you're able to evolve and then grow into maybe a fourth dimensional or fifth dimensional being. That's my theory.
Love that.
It's a very
I love
weird
it.
theory,
Yeah.
but
All right.
No, I love it.
And for those of
Ariana
you that
Casillas said we were in different universes. I guess when we transcend. What were you going to say?
I like to think that too.
I was going to talk about dimensions because he talked about.
You should,
Okay,
talk about,
well-
you should talk about simulation.
Valen
That's
said,
another
what
thing,
about
too.
transcending to different dimensions? She said that.
Dimensions, yeah. Well, we can at any point right now transcend into different dimensions. At least that's what I believe. That we are constantly in the 3D. And honestly, I don't know what percentage, but it feels like 99% of people are in that third dimension. 3D stands for third dimension. But the fourth and the fifth dimension, I read something one time. Have we ever talked about dimensions here on the show? I read something
I think
so
we had
cool.
talked lightly on it.
I read something so cool, but this isn't necessarily about life after death, but just a little side note about dimensions. Third dimensions are basically people. So everybody's in different dimensions. Like, honestly, we can all be on different dimensions. I feel like mom's always kind of between fourth and fifth dimension. And then all of us are kind of like on fourth. None of us are really in the third dimension most full time. But the third dimension is materialism and basically any type of racist, hateful, or hater, like, you know,
trolls.
trolls.
Haters, like people that like
trolls
go
on
spend their
the internet.
time leaving.
Yeah.
Wait,
like
you believe
that.
you believe the dimension is more in your mind rather
Oh,
than
absolutely.
rather than
Your soul.
the physical realm that we're in?
The physical realm is just the 3D, but I think that
She's talking about other dimensions, like while we're here,
While
not
we're
what
here.
happens like after,
yeah,
and like the dimension.
That's why I said it
I've
kind of
never-
veers off.
I've never even like.
because when
thought
you
of it.
talked about coming back as a fourth or fifth dimensional human,
No, not into this 3D world. I mean, I believe dimensions are like you can only live and exist in each dimension and know that you live and exist, but no other being in a dimension lower than you knows you exist. You're invisible to them. So if you look at what dimensions physically
that's
are, it's like the first dimension is a dot, the second dimension is a line, and the third dimension is what is created through lines and dots, which is a 3D object, which is what we are. And the fourth dimension would be a dimension above us, fifth dimension above us, other dimension above us, because a dot doesn't know that. Like, if you would have literally look at it,
Right.
like a three-dimensional object can create a two-dimensional object, but a two-dimensional object isn't self-aware to be able to create and manifest in a third dimensional.
Then isn't my theory kind of correct?
It
Because
is, yeah, it
sometimes
is. That's what
a
I'm
third
saying.
dimensional human just can't see eye to eye with a fourth one, and you
Yeah.
kind of think that they're crazy,
Right.
and you kind of think that they're nuts, but
Yeah.
to them they're normal. You know
Right.
what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's kind of like we're all stuck in these
That's
dimensions,
so true.
different wavelengths in a way.
That's crazy.
Like the fourth dimension. Moving on to what I was saying.
It's
is
like,
the-
yeah, it's like wavelengths when you're like, you're on my wavelength. So like some people aren't on your
exactly.
wavelength.
Like be with the people who are on your wave. Fourth dimension is
You've seen
the
Interstellar, right?
no.
Okay, you gotta see it.
I know.
Continue.
Fourth dimension is
You gotta see it.
humans who are basically woke, and they like to say that they're woke, and they're activists, and they're the people that go to the walks and they riot and they protest, and they're very strongly opinionated, but they are judgmental of those who don't think like them.
And then
That's in
you're
the
saying-
third
and then
dimension?
you're saying
That's
fifth-
fourth
and
dimensional
you're saying
humans.
fifth is like
And they
above
love
all
to
that.
talk about how they're so woke, and honestly, I
I
feel
feel
like
like-
most of the world right now is fourth dimensional, and then fifth dimension are
You
How's
didn't
that-
You
have-
accept
people who
everything.
people who live in love and acceptance of everyone, and they believe that everyone is them, that they are in everyone,
That- yeah.
and everyone is them, and instead of judging others, they just choose to look the other way.
Yeah, and sometimes you could think that you're like in the fifth dimension, and there'll be people that are like, I saw this live the other day, and this girl was, she was saying that she was like, yeah, everybody that hates on you, they just hate themselves. And she kind of just said it in a way that was like, well, they hate themselves. Like, that's not being in a fifth dimension. That's, you're hating on them for, but you're saying that they hate themselves. So you're not being loving to them. Like,
Right.
if anything, the haters are the ones that need help.
Wait.
And you kind of, and when you're in a fifth dimension, you look at it like that. Like, you don't want to attack that hater. Like, you want to
Right.
give
You
them
would- you would
love
express
because
it-
they're
you
not
would
gonna
express it
change
differently.
with hate. They're going to change with love.
Right, you would say
Exactly.
you would basically say they have their own process. Like you wouldn't
Yeah.
you wouldn't throw the hate back. But do you necessarily think by her stating that she's hating on her, she's just basically stating that whoever's throwing the hate out is basically hating on themselves?
No, but she said it in a way where it was like, they hate themselves, so like, you got it good. Like, and I was just like, I
Oh,
don't know.
okay.
Like, if anything, like, you should be like, those people need help, like, they need love, not like, well, they hate themselves, so move on. you
Right,
know?
right,
It was
right.
just kind of very, like, aggressive, and I was
Right.
like, that's not how we need to be in this world.
I
Like,
agree.
Just because you're saying that doesn't make you a good person.
Right.
It, like,
It's-
because you're stating the fact that, like,
you're
I don't
stating
know.
you're stating the problem,
I
but you're
don't
not
know.
Yeah,
you're
but
not
you're
coming
not-
coming up with
Yeah.
a solution. You're not fixing it
Exactly.
when we can.
exactly.
Right. I
Well,
like
that kind of veered completely. We kind
No,
of
it's,
just
a,
told.
it's a good combo. I
Yeah,
like it.
I think it's a great combo, but to what we were talking about death.
Okay,
You
so
guys-
we have a
guys, Don't be
comment.
shy. If you guys want to
No,
comment,
they
your
are
theories,
commenting, but we are all having
Okay.
rants.
Right. Yes. I want to hear
We're
what.
passionate.
Okay,
I want to
so
hear what they.
Haley Demont said, my friend passed away a few months ago and she loved animals, so we got her mom a kitten. And sometimes the cat does the weirdest stuff out of the blue, and that's how she knows that her daughter is always around. That is so cute, and I can only
That
imagine
is.
how hard it is for a parent to lose.
But
a
that also
child.
means
like,
that the girl never really left.
yeah, and we do believe in that.
kinda-
Like
that kind of
sometimes,
sucks.
people like people. I know we know someone that like loved butterflies, and whenever a butterfly came around, she like felt her grandma, right?
Mm.
Yeah,
You talking about Elena?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
like people. I'm sure.
Well, that's like a memory though.
no,
That's
like
not
they
necessarily
feel
that
it.
the
No, these
grandma's
people
still running around.
No, mom said it the other day with a butterfly too.
Yeah, she remembers.
She felt
butterflies
it.
with Luisita, but Luisita's not running around still. You know what I mean?
I mean, you don't know.
That could be that's different though. That's like a
Everything
that's
is
like
what
a-
you think it is.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way. Like
Oh
if
my
you felt
God.
it and it really felt like that energy to you, then maybe it was.
Yeah.
Uh,
And that
even if-
and what about hauntings though? Or what about when? Because that's like a serious. That's a more serious matter of not crossing over. When you're not crossing over, and you literally stay here forever, and something evil or bad happened to you, and you literally, and that's why things are still haunted. Like that is a pure hauntings and spirits still being around is a pure example of life after death, of the fact that your energy doesn't just die and your consciousness doesn't just disappear.
I mean, have
when
you ever had
die.
an experience with a ghost? I haven't, so I can't really say.
But there are, and there's proven, and there's places that are haunted, and there's and
are there?
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, that's just 100%, and that's just like a pure example. Because I was reading something before we started about the main argument of life after death, and it's that some people think that that your consciousness and your energy just dies and disappears, and so others think that you live on. And I definitely think it's the one that live on, especially bringing up an example of hauntings and places that are haunted and things that are still roaming around with spirits, because that's the energies
wouldn't
are
be
still
no
there.
relation.
Right.
That's how I feel about aliens. Like if like they have to be real, or else how would you come up with something like a little emoji? Like how do you know what it even?
Little emoji.
How would you come up with the thought of it if it wasn't?
Oh my
like,
God, yeah, like
something
rumors.
that was actually like there. You know.
I mean, just to go back to what Haley said, Van, you brought up haunting, which it's kind of, I guess, a little bit of the darker side of it. But just to go back to
about
what Haley
spirits that don't transcend.
about energies, like about us, life after death, basically, and about Haley, the cat.
The cat that roams around.
The
and
cat
gives
that
her the
runs
same
around, that
energy.
gives it the energy that I think yes, like that's a form of us still being connected to that energy of her mom still being connected to her daughter's energy, because if energy doesn't vanish or doesn't get destructed, then
Transforms.
it just transfers. Then maybe that is a lighter way, a loving way to see life after death, of her mom still being able to connect with the cat, or connect with her daughter through the cat. And then Van, you brought up the haunting, which is, I think that's a little bit darker. That's for the people that are that are a little bit jealous, or like all the negatives, you know,
Or
lost, or
who were
hate,
like murdered
murder.
and they don't want to leave, and that's always how haunted places go down. It's like someone was murdered here.
That's true.
was a
Now you're
shooting.
And so
That is true.
they have a lot of resent and regret, and they don't want to leave. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
So they sit around haunting places.
it
That
could
is
also
just the purest form of, oh my God, there's definitely an afterlife, because they didn't just disappear when the body just dropped.
To bring a little bit of light to the convo, Sam Carver said, I definitely believe that the base of all religions is to better yourself, to become the best version of you. Yeah,
I
we
agree.
always say that. Just
And-
like there's different ways of putting it.
Religion's actually for individuals like that feel the same way that you guys were feeling when you guys were having those periods of time when you were afraid of death.
Mm-hmm.
It's to give people something to have faith in
And
to
believe
have
in.
praise in, because if you have no praise or faith in anything, or you just don't believe in anything, you can easily be sucked into a hole where
Yeah.
you believe that
Yeah.
everything is like there's
Definitely.
no reason for anything.
Fake,
There's-
like,
everything's
there's
nothing.
yeah.
Everything is immaterial.
Which isn't good.
Yeah, it's not.
I mean,
good
And you
at
don't
all.
even necessarily have to believe in a religion, but just like believe in yourself.
something. Yeah,
believe in
yes,
something.
definitely. Because it's a way you're wasting your life away. Like
Yeah.
when you don't believe in nothing, it's such a waste. Give it to somebody that
You,
will
you
believe
can't think
them.
that you're just the only one that knows.
Give your life
There's
away.
a higher. There's a higher there.
If you believe in yourself, that's enough.
That's
right then
enough,
and there, you're
right.
a living being.
Yep.
You're
Or in-
conscious. You're alive. You have goals.
Yeah.
You have things to do. If
Definitely.
you believe in yourself, you should believe in life in general. And life
Definitely.
After death,
Yes.
death in general.
Definitely.
MJE_XO, the girl that had the psychic.
Mhm.
She said the psychic had no clue about anything either. Like, it's wild. I told her nothing, and she came up with all of it. It gives me chills. Same with our friend. Like, she had no idea, and she was like she had no idea about the girl, and
Yeah.
she was just telling her stuff that
Yeah.
nobody like even.
And we don't want to come across as heartless in this. I want to talk a little bit about when people do die in your life and what happens to you.
I wanted to literally talk about that too, because we hadn't talked about that just
Because
yet.
we don't want to just talk about like, oh, death, and like there's probably people that aren't over it, and there's probably people that can't talk about it.
Like, how do you cope
And
with it?
Yeah, how do you cope with it? And I think
What does it mean when a person dies?
what
in
does
general?
it what does it mean?
In your life and in theirs too.
I'll see. Well, I wasn't even gonna take it that route, but
I was because I feel like
I feel
well,
like
just because I'm thinking about the friend. I keep saying the friend that passed. Our
I'm
college
thinking
friend.
about what happens to the person when they lose somebody and what losing
Okay.
somebody really is.
Okay, so that's what
Ego.
that's the first that's the first thing. Like when you see it as losing somebody, then you will. I mean, obviously, at first it's definitely gonna be hard, and it's definitely gonna feel like you lost somebody. But the longer you stay within that, even that, if you say it like that, I lost this person. The moment you lose something, that's when you freak out. You lost. It's like you're getting less. It's like
Yeah.
you're hurting.
You don't know how to give something away, and you don't know how to never see something ever again because your ego doesn't know how to give; it just wants to receive.
And
Right.
it doesn't know how to let go.
I think then well, I never really lost anybody. I haven't lost anybody really close to me
Yeah,
yet,
us
thank
either.
God. But I think the whole idea of dealing with it is turning the losing into setting free, or into not losing, but I don't know, somehow gaining strength, gaining what is it, confidence or experience, or do you guys get where I'm going with this?
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Turn a negative to a positive.
right, like, because the
Use
longer you
that-
stay with how I lost,
Use
My-
that energy. You use that energy, all of that energy of pain, which is very strong, and you literally switch it and gear it towards a different direction.
Right.
Because energy is energy, regardless of what type of emotion it has latched onto it. Energy is strong, and if you have the willpower to move it towards a different direction, sometimes it takes people months, sometimes it takes people a day. It took me a day to take that energy from DJ's death from sadness to I'm gonna.
Well, you're
be
talking about a
fearless.
pet.
Yeah,
because
sure.
when you lose a parent, you don't get over
But
it in a
I'm
month.
sure. Well,
Right,
actually, our own mom who lost her mom.
But she was old. What about if you lose them too soon?
I think it just depends on the human that you are. I don't think
Yeah.
it matters
How
how much you
evolved-
love the person. I think
how
it just
evolved
depends
you
on
are.
how evolved you are.
Mom didn't
Really?
take more than
Yes.
a couple days to really come to terms with everything and
Okay,
understand.
but that's a different story. She knew she was passing. She was sick for 2 years. She died of old age. Like, she had her for the time that she need. What about the people that lose them too soon? Do you think that's...
I
That
think
goes
those
for
people. I
everyone?
think those people are meant to do. Those are actually the most blessed people.
Like
Please, like, don't take it the wrong way, but, like, you know, if you think about it, if losing somebody or losing something is meant for you to grow, and if you lose them at such a young age, it could be so horrific. But at the same time, if you evolve with it the right way, like, what's in store for you is like,
Yeah.
like, dang.
How strong you will become.
And it's all a test of life, you know, like, and we do believe that our lives are pre-written. And if that something like that were to happen, like, I just thought, like, what if one of us were to pass and mom had to deal with that? It would be mom's, like, that would be
Mom's
mom's
process.
calling. It would be her process in
Yeah.
life, and to get over that would be like to challenge her and how strong she is.
You know what I
kind
think
of
that
thing.
everyone's biggest fear is? It goes, I guess, farther than death and just, like, you know, not being on this earth anymore. It's that once you do die, that you're remembered, or that you left something, right?
Mm-hmm.
That you
don't
were
wanna
significant.
Feel, yeah,
Right.
you don't want to feel like your life was insignificant. Like, you know, you lived your entire life, and by the end of it, you had no effect
Mm-hmm.
on anyone else's life. You
Mhm.
didn't have people that loved you. You didn't have love come your way, or you didn't have enough love come your way, or whatever it may be. But if you just look at it at a practical standpoint, and you guys always make fun of me for looking at it at a practical standpoint, every single living being on this earth has a purpose, and it's to continue life in general. You know, like, the reason why we don't, like, our bodies don't stay around after we die is because they actually populate, they feed, they nourish the earth. So if you look at it, like, you know, from a practical and also a very earthy standpoint, yeah,
Earthy.
like,
I'm all about earthy.
yeah,
I'm
if
all
you-
about
If
earthy.
you look at
Yeah.
it from, like, a scientific standpoint, our bodies decompose and they nourish the earth. That's what the earth needs in order for it to grow. So it's important. It's a part of life. People need to die. If you ever think that a person died and, you know, it wasn't their time and it wasn't right, it shouldn't have happened, think about not only the fact that, yeah, their bodies will become one with the earth, but think about just everybody
thought
whose
about it,
lives they
don't, though.
affected. You know
They
what I mean?
don't.
Yeah.
Because we bury them in a coffin. They're not touching the earth.
No,
They
that
stay in
coffin
the coffin.
decomposes. That coffin.
The coffin decomposes?
It's wood.
Oh, I guess.
It's wood. I mean, unless you got a freaking metal coffin, then there's something wrong with. I'm not remember. No, but, like, really, the whole point of what I'm trying to say is that everybody has a purpose. Everybody
Yeah.
has a meaning. Even if people die out early, you know, DJ had a meaning, right? Our cat had a meaning, and it was to bring us joy and life, and to make us
And
appreciate
protection.
and protection, and make us appreciate an animal more than just it being a living animal that we coexist with. It was more of, we actually had real, legitimate human feelings for another object, for another living
Object.
being,
A being.
for another living being. You know,
Right.
so there's always a purpose. There's always a meaning. If you can
I think the
find a
main
meaning,
purpose is to give.
yeah.
I read this quote the other
to
day,
love,
and it
to
said,
love, really.
"You don't know how to live if you don't know how." If you don't know how to give, or if you're not living if you aren't giving.
Yeah.
No, it was
Right.
you don't know how to live if you don't know how to give.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Scooter.
Yes.
I read it
Right.
the other day too.
Right.
Scooter, Justin Bieber's manager. Like, of course, he's just,
It's
like
in
knows.
his bio. It's in his
He
bio.
knows what's
Right.
up.
That's what's up. That's what's up. It's true.
Mama, how much time we have left? 5? We got
What were you
5
gonna say, baby?
Guys,
No, no,
go ahead and comment in what you guys believe happens in with life after death. Where we go.
We've had
We would
so
love
many
to talk
comments, but I'm
about
like
it.
getting scrambled in.
I know.
Let me get a good one,
We'd
Pam.
love to get to all
Thank
your
you guys.
comments. It's
Thank you
just
guys
hard
for being
sometimes.
Somebody
so involved
said-
today. I see all the comments coming in, like flying in on this topic, and it's so dope that this show is called Generation Z. You guys are Generation Z, and we're all so intrigued by these topics, and that's the
Yeah.
whole point of the show. So
Other generations are invited too to come join the show.
Right. Right.
yeah,
Because I am.
We do have other generations.
Because I am generation.
Christian is a millennial.
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 Yeah.
He's like, I'm generation millennial.
Right. X. Isn't it
No,
generation
wait,
X? No.
You're an 80s
Which
baby,
one is
dude.
X? Which one's generation X?
It's the one right
After
it's
us?
after us.
It's after us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like X, man. I
no,
wish.
wait, I think it's
I
before
know,
us.
right?
No, I think X is after us, isn't
I
it?
don't know. You're gonna have to ask mom.
Because
She's
X, Y,
Generation
Z.
Pro.
So
X, Y, Z.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know. My mom actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Van and Pam, you guys are right. My mom knows.
Chab underscore. Oh, what were you gonna say? What were you gonna say, Christian?
No. I was actually asking for a question. Yeah.
What was it a question? It was he was telling us. He said
share.
you should all read the book called Many Lives and Many Masters. Many Lives, Many Masters by Brian L. Wise.
I'm gonna write that down.
Sounds
I'm
Actually.
gonna write it
really
down.
interesting.
Yeah, thank you.
We really like that
Suggestion.
topic. Like we actually find ourselves talking about it
We
quite
always
often,
talk
like
about
time.
life after
without
death.
even or just like ego having to do with it, yeah, all that stuff. So let me see.
But as you guys can tell, basically the base of our belief is that we have an energy, and it goes somewhere.
We should have talked about simulation.
Simulation.
Or orbs.
We could just do a whole
apply orbs.
Because you can apply simulation
We'll do
to
a whole
everything
show
we're
about
talking
simulation.
You know what I mean? I guess. Yeah.
We'll do
yeah,
a whole
yeah.
show about simulation.
Sam Carver said, "Damn, I need more friends willing to go deep in deep death conversations." Like that.
Well, you
That's
got
why we're
us.
here.
You got us. Okay.
Because I feel like if you had the power to be able to create an entire universe, right? Like me or you had the power to be able to like make a little mini universe in a cube right now, in here right now, and we were able to harness that much energy that literally it could run and live and like thrive. And in that universe, have there be little mini galaxies with little mini planets with little people living in it and stuff like that. That it's literally everything we're talking about right now. That it is an energy. If you had enough energy to be able to harness and the power of a universe and then create life in that universe, it's all one energy. It's all literally one source of energy that's pushing all life in that simulation. Who's to say that that's not what's going on right now too?
Yeah, no, you're giving me energy by expressing yourself like that. Like I'm getting more energy.
I
from
literally
you.
just I think
Crazy.
about that. Yeah, I think about like energy like that. Like when you dance and people look at it and it makes them smile, and like your energy is like they're taking it in and it's like making like I don't
I've
know.
realized so. I've 100%. I've realized so much
feel
in the
it so
past
much at
year, and it's
festivals.
just that. Oh
You
yeah.
feel it at festivals, like you just smiling
you
makes
can-
somebody like
Dance.
okay, and they like get
It
with the role of
transfers.
it.
It
Yeah.
Dance in general, jumping into dance circles like that, and then
And then
being able
making
to
the
make
circle
the
bigger,
crowd
and
get-
then people attracting to it by just walking
Being
by. They're
able-
like, "Oh, I like this," and they stay. They're like, "I want some of that." You know?
Yeah.
I guess figure out what gets your energy really amped up naturally, and that's how you know that that's your purpose. Because if energy transfers, I'm so grateful for dance because dance. I'm a very mellow person in general, but dance. When I dance, my state just gets from mellow to 10,000 and people can feel that. And when people come up to me after and give me a compliment or tell me like, yo, wow, I felt that, blah, 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 that's when I'm amazed. So, but I feel like every single person has that ability to get to that higher state naturally. Just figure out it could be a comedian, you're a chef, name it, whatever you are that gets you in that high
Especially
state.
by seeing you get to in that high state, because everybody can relate to those feelings
Definitely.
and those crazy energy
that level, the
Yeah.
high energy level, and that's really what it is. So that's really important. Whenever if you're watching and you're dealing with like depression sometimes, or like you just don't have any energy to go do something, what you gotta go do, just try to figure out what it is that you just gotta get your energy elevated. Once you get your energy elevated, things will flow better from there.
Watch things that inspire you. I think going back to the whole dance circle thing, also another big thing is a lot of the times people will go in the circle and you'll watch them dance and you're just like, okay. And then someone goes in who actually was just at their highest. And then you're like, okay, I have to go in. It was literally like an energy transfer. Like you do receive energy. It's like you trade it
Definitely.
off.
Through like
You trade it off.
it's like being
Definitely.
inspired. Like you
Yeah.
just give it all these names, but it's just energy.
Look, and like Christian was saying, for those people who are still looking to find themselves and find getting in that higher state, watch the things that make you happiest. Watch the things that literally make you smile, not what makes you frown. Because sometimes you will let your ego just look for things that make you not happy, and you look for that pain. It's your ego. Don't mistake that for
Right.
who you
You
are.
are not your
Don't
mind.
declare it as depression. Just look for the things that make you happy because they're out there.
And
go ahead.
sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm signing off, bro. If you want to say something, go
No,
ahead.
just I guess then this was a good way to sign off.
It was, yeah.
And it's just the everyday practice. We deal with the same thing every single day, and obviously the more you do it, the better you get at it. But just start little by little every day. Just make sure you start, and then you'll be good.
Yeah.
And on
Eventually.
that note, our time is up. Mama is telling us to sign off. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys, and thank you so much
Yeah.
for commenting and saying what you guys
I know, and we
think
actually
about the
missed
subject.
a lot of comments
We
of
missed
people
a
saying
lot.
really awesome stuff, but we're going to save the live, so we're going to be able to read them. Like, don't feel like you just wrote all
Right,
this stuff for
right.
nothing, because we will go through it.
The thing is that
And-
we stay up at the top of the comments the whole time. We just have to let it ride, and if you catch one, you catch one. Because
No,
a lot
I
of the
don't wanna
times,
do that.
because a lot of the times you read a comment of someone from 20 minutes ago, and they're probably not even in the live anymore. So if we catch it, we catch it. But if you
Moral
you
of the
just have
story:
to-
we're gonna get better at this stuff, guys.
Right.
Little by little, get better
Yeah.
at this stuff.
And we're gonna read yours, so it's not like you just wrote for nothing.
Yeah.
Yes.
This conversation
Remember
goes
that.
on after the show. It always does.
Oh, and
It
we're going to
always
post
Always
this
does.
on our YouTube channel on...
tomorrow, actually.
tomorrow.
Yep. So if
Yes.
you guys missed it, you'll be able to see it on the YouTube channel. You'll be able to see it with a lot nicer audio because we're using the my mom's radio audio. So thank you
And
so
if
much.
you also
guys.
missed this live, you can tune in at...
Oh yeah, so this live, if you guys are just not tuning in and you didn't see the life after death conversation discussion that went down, this is just the live stream on my Instagram. But if you go on positivoextremoradio.com, which I will link it on my story, you can actually hear the whole show go down at 5 o'clock Eastern time. No,
Pacific
West
time.
Pacific
8
time.
p.m. Eastern
8 p.m.
time.
Eastern time.